Here we are at the end of my mid-season prospect rankings, and we're finishing with the safety class. I'm going to give you my top 10 safety prospects in this draft class, but stick with me until the end of the video because I'm going to talk about some of the guys who just missed the list. But what's crack-a-lackin'? It's your boy Broshmo, just in case you did not know. So go ahead, become bro and subscribe. Leave this video a thumbs up if you enjoy the content. As always, let me know what you think in the comment section below, where we have that nice, beautiful football discourse. Let's get this sucker started with number 10, Bo Braid out of Maryland, coming in at 6'1", 210 pounds, former 3-star recruit out of the 2020 class. His father, Ron, played football at Virginia Tech. I got a 4th round grade on him, and he didn't become a starter till last season, right? In 2022, and this season having a solid year, good compact frame with really good length. Still has some more room to put on mass, though probably doesn't really need to. Good nose for the football. He's shown a quick trigger when attacking routes underneath. Last season, 5 pass breakups, 2 interceptions. This year, 3 pass breakups, 1 interception. We still got like 4 games to go. I guess 5 if you include the bowl game. So I'm sure those numbers will go up. I like how this guy, I just like how he times the catch point, right? And he shows a good physical nature when he attacks contested catch opportunities. Mean hitter when he aims high towards, especially when he's like aiming high towards the chest, can like just rattle ball carriers. The missed tackle rate isn't debilitating considering just his aggressive style of tackling. And the dude has a ton of special teams experience, so a lot of guys are gonna love that about him. However, I do think he lacks the range to be a true center fielder, like what we saw in like a Nick Cross a couple of years ago. I was a big Nick Cross guy, so I think he probably fares better as maybe a box, maybe a split high guy, which is fine. We're seeing a lot of too high nowadays in the NFL. He plays more reactive than proactive, and there's times he gets just caught falling for the eye candy of the quarterback and just knowing what's going on around him. He's been susceptible to allowing the big play, and you would like to see him clean up as a tackler. When you look at the career missed tackle rate, it's around 16%, and that's something that's been steady the last 2 years, considering he was a starter the last 2 years. That's something that just hasn't changed. I don't know if it will change with him. Going to number 9, I got Xavier Watts out of Notre Dame, still in this 4th round area, coming in at 5'11", 204, former 4-star recruit out of the 2020 class. He was initially recruited as a receiver, but made the transition from receiver in between the 2020 and the 2021 season, and was basically just been kind of a rover. Or an overhanging safety, a guy that'll play in the slot or play in the box. And he is a legit playmaker. Like, he has a legit nose for the football. He's always flowing to the action. That's why the tackle numbers are among the highest on this list. Whether the ball is in the air or on the ground, he is attacking the football. He is very meticulous with his position. Like, you're gonna find it hard to see him out of position. He's always puts himself in an advantageous position to make a play on the ball. And big fan of that. He knows how to leverage pass catchers and blockers alike. Keeps himself relatively clean from engagement when he's pursuing, or if it's to attack the catch point. I mean, a lot of that's led to how successful he has been in terms of the ball skills. You got 6 interceptions this season. Kind of nuts. 3 pass breakups. Side note, got a forced fumble. Also got a fumble recovery for a touchdown in that USC game. So just phenomenal. Does a very good job of wrapping up ball carriers. That compact build just kind of allows him to eat hits and deliver punishing hits. I guess that's the only word for it. Tackles. Just annihilates guys. The biggest thing, though, that did stick out to me was he's a fine athlete. I don't think he's got high-end athleticism or speed. I look at it and I'm just like, yeah, it's To me, it's fairly average. He's not someone that can cover a ton of ground on the back end. Also, something I noticed a lot, especially when plays get forced to the sideline, doesn't always take the best angles, which has led to missed tackles. He's just throwing his body in not very good positions, has led to forced missed tackles. 20% this season was his missed tackle rate, but big fan, big playmaker, and yeah, here he is. Listen, I know you love the NFL draft as much as I do, and you're gonna want a nice hefty watch list of players during this college football season. Well, go ahead, check out my draft guide. You can purchase it for only $30 by Venmoing or PayPaling me. Links in the description. It's a one-time payment and you get it for this whole draft cycle and forever and always. Technically, it's a Google spreadsheet. So send me your email when you send the payment. I'll get you hooked up. You will see my current prospect rankings and big board, my full evals. And guess what? It updates throughout the whole draft cycle. So it's a great purchase and it's a great way to support the channel. Go ahead, jump to number 8. And I got Andrew Makuba, got a 3rd round grade on him. So now we dip into those day 2 guys. And I got him listed as a defensive back, and you'll see why here in a second. But he's coming in at 6 foot 185, former 4-star recruit from the 2021 class. Interesting little backstory. He was initially born and grew up in Zimbabwe. His parents and older siblings were refugees from the Dominican Republic of Congo. Not a lot of people know that there's 2 Congos. He immigrated to Austin, Texas with his family when he was 9 years old. He played receiver and safety in high school, though he ended up being a defensive back when arriving there at Clemson. He played in all 13 games with 10 starts as a freshman. So this guy was already a stud the minute he stepped on the field. He was a freshman All-American, made the freshman All-American team. Then in 2022, he had 11 starts, 7 at safety, 3 in the slot, and even 1 at corner. Did miss 2 games with a dislocated elbow. And that kind of like plagued him for majority of the season, because last season was kind of bit of a down year. And I feel like now that I feel like this season he's kind of creeped back towards what we saw that freshman season. And to be fair, the dude's playing a majority of the time in the slot. Like, go ahead, look at this right now. Yeah, 222 of his 340 snaps have been in the slot. He did miss 2 games this season with, I believe it was a lower body injury. Not specifically sure what that was, but the dude's an insane athlete, great athlete. You look at the build and he's got room to put on more mass, and I honestly think he could play wherever in the defensive backfield. He's got that type of athleticism, that type of just quicks, man. Might be one of the quickest and smoothest athletes in this class. I love the change of direction when it comes to Makuba. Just pure muscle too. So like there is little bad weight on this cat's body, and I think he's going to continue to keep developing his body. Been a solid tackler for the most part. You look at his career missed tackle rates around 10%, which honestly pretty good for a guy that's 185 pounds and has literally played everywhere in that defensive backfield. Was plagued by injuries mostly in 2022. He has bounced back this season, but did have the lower body injury. His aggressiveness sometimes gets the best of him in coverage, whether it's a double move or just kind of buying into the quarterback's eyes overall. Like, the awareness just needs to get better from him, and he has room to put on more mass, and I think that is something he will, but probably not a guy you want to play in the box. But he's been actually a solid run defender playing in the slot, so I don't mind that, and I like that. But Makuba, for a lot of people, he was much higher to begin the year, and I feel like this might be a cat that ends up returning to school next season. At number 7, I got Jaden Baron out of Texas, one of my first slot-only players on this list, coming in at 5'11", 192, former 4-star recruit from the 2020 class. He has 5 siblings. Ain't that fun? He played receiver, defensive back, and was a returner in high school. Also competed in track in the 100-meter and 200-meter dash, where he ran a 10.95 in the 100-meter dash, which is a really good number. Really didn't become the starter till last season, where he started 9 of 13 games, and that was a bit everywhere last year, though mainly in the slot, but he did play a bit in the box. This year it is almost exclusively in the slot, and he's been good. He's been fantastic this year for the Longhorns. Very smooth athlete who just plays with really bad intentions. He maneuvers traffic well, does a good job of finishing tackles, and a lot of times, sometimes in the backfield. He had 32 defensive stops last year, 17 this year. If you don't know what a defensive stop is, essentially it's a play that leads to negative or no gain. This year, he has displayed ball skills, though it's not as ludicrous as a guy Xavier Watts, but he has shown he can make plays on the football. And if he gets the football in his hands, this guy used to be a returner back in high school. So doesn't surprise me when you tell me he's had a fumble return for a touchdown, an interception for a touchdown, a blocked punt for a touchdown. That doesn't surprise me none. And he also brings that return ability, so he offers a lot more than just, okay, this is kind of one of the top slot guys in this class. And I'll say that's probably going to hurt him, man. You could look at him and be like, okay, he isn't only a slot prospect, but he's mainly played around the line of scrimmage, so that's somewhere I just don't think you want to move him away from. Doesn't have elite short area quick, sometimes can be a bit clunky out of his transition, but overall he is a smooth athlete. Might be a better zone defender than he is a man coverage player, but all in all, man, Baron's been a hot riser for a lot of people. Didn't start on many people's he wasn't on many people's watch list prior to entering the 2023 college football season. Looking at number 6, I got Jaden Hicks out of Washington State, and this one can change, and we'll talk about why that might be the case a little bit. But coming in at 6'3", 212 pounds, I got currently a midday 2 grade on him. He was formerly a 3-star recruit from Bishop Gorman. It's kind of a big high school in Vegas where a lot of high-level recruits come from. His senior year was canceled because of the Rona, but ended up finding his way to Washington State. His older brother played for Hawaii, so that's cool. Redshirt his freshman season, then last season started the final 11 games, looked good. This season's been a starter in every game, and he is kind of an explosive athlete, whether that's closing the distance towards the sideline or coming downhill. He very much plays what's in front of him. And we kind of talk about on deeper routes, he can be a tick late to turn and run with guys, or just in general understand what's going on around him or behind him. So I'm thinking you probably want this guy to play maybe a split high, or maybe even just as a box defender. Kind of feel like that might be the case. You go back to his 2022 season, and he allowed 3 receptions for 65 plus yards. So 3 separate receptions that went for 65 plus yards. Kind of ludicrous. This year, I don't think he's allowed a reception longer than 38 yards. So that's great to see. Really is. Does a nice job of keeping his eyes on the football. He attacks the ball when it's in air, legit ups. When it comes to it, I think his vertical is going to be nice. I think he's going to do well in the explosive drills. Plays with a good motor, plays till the whistle. Love to see it. We'll say this, his footwork in and out of his back pedal can definitely much be better. Much like his processor, I think his footwork is something that's still coming along. We've seen improvements, at least early on this season, but this is kind of the thing, man. Last couple of weeks, as Washington started this losing streak, they started getting pounded by teams. So I say pounded by teams, but they really got pounded by Arizona That was about it. But like you started to see those like, oh, okay. Apparently the beginning of the year was much better than what we've seen thus far. I'm kind of hoping that he kind of turns that around. Could end up leading him to fall out of the day 2 discussion. But thus far, man, I like a lot of what I've seen thus far from Hicks. I just kind of hope the play gets better. It's just, again, been down in recent weeks. On to number 5. I got Rod Moore out of Michigan coming in at 6 foot 198. Currently got a midday 2 grade on him. He did miss 3 games this season. It was at the beginning of the year. I'm trying to remember what was it specifically. I think it was a hamstring issue. And so that's going to have to be looked into because I've seen some reports talk about it being a chronic issue potentially. So I'm a little curious and a little concerned there. But when it comes to what you're getting with Rod Moore, a former 4-star recruit out of the 2021 class, a guy that is extremely fast. He was clocked in at a 6.99 in the 60 meter dash, 22.17 in the 200 meter dash. So just a phenomenally fast and explosive athlete. Became the starter last year, and then he got back his starter role this season as they eased him in the first 2 games where he only played, I think, 41 snaps between the Rutgers and Nebraska game. And then he just got back that starter role as Michigan continues to just kill everybody in their way. But smooth athlete, fast athlete, great understanding of the game as well. You will hardly find this cat out of position. He's done a great job tracking the football. Just natural instincts. You look at the ball skills last year, 4 interceptions, 3 pass breakups. This season, he does have an interception and a pass breakup. And you could tell he's starting to get a little bit more confident after coming back from the injury the last couple of weeks. So I expect the numbers, at least the ball skills, to look a little much better as we get closer to the end of the year. And he'll have 2 big matchups in Penn State and Ohio State left on the schedule. Has been a sure tackler his entire career. Last year's missed tackle rate was 6.3. Smaller sample size this year, but it's 8.3, so still very solid. He is a bit undersized. There are times he'll struggle to get off of blocks against more physical receivers in the run game. And while he is a smooth athlete, explosive athlete, we're not talking about like a Daxton Hill type where it was just ludicrous. And I think that's probably what keeps him out of first round discussion, along with the lack of not even volume, but production this season. But again, a big part of that is the injury. So he's here at number 5 for me. But going to number 4, I got Javon Bard out of Georgia. He's having a really good season. He did miss 3 games this year with an ankle injury, but when he has been in the lineup, he has been super duper productive. I do have him as a slot only, though. I think you could probably pass him off as someone who can play the safety position, just because the dude is a very good athlete, and he plays with a physical nature. So I don't think him playing maybe in the box or even further on the back end is out of the wheelhouse for him. It's just we haven't seen him do a lot of that, though he has played more split high and deep safety this season than any other year in his career. But former 3-star recruit out of the 2021 class, became the starter last year where he had 10 starts in the slot. Did miss the Mizzou game in 2022 because of being suspended for a DUI, and he has been fine ever since in terms of no run-ins with the law or anything. So hopefully that was just kind of a learning lesson for him. But this is a cat that is willing to throw his body, whether it's at the catch point or at receivers or even like bigger ball carriers. Like he will throw caution to the wind to make plays, to level the ball out of the grips of the pass catcher, or to take ball carriers off of their feet. I love that. I love the explosiveness. I love the change of direction. Very good athlete. He's just kind of hard to block also in the run game because he can just flat out lay out blockers. And being 5'11", 165, a little smaller, really shorter, it's kind of hard to get your hands up on those guys, and he just attacks with really good leverage. But he is a bit undersized, and at least going to the NFL, you might think he is maybe a slot-only player. So there are going to be concerns with his size and weight and where does he exactly fit in the NFL. But I think the play is there. I got a midday 2 grade on him. Big fan, big fan. Let's talk about the big 3, though, in this class with number 3, Calen Bullock out of USC, coming in at 6'3", 190. Former 4-star recruit out of the 2021 class, and had 6 starts in 2021, was a full-time starter last year where he made first-team All-American. He makes first-team All-American once again this year, or at least is an All-American. That won't surprise me. He has been very productive with 6 pass breakups and 2 interceptions thus far this season. Great athlete with great movement skills, legit center fielder potential. He can pick up receivers on top of their routes and just mirror those guys through the remainder, no problems. Go watch that Arizona game, one of the funnest ones, I think, where he was spying Jacob Cowan a good part of the game, and actually ended up making like I can't remember. It was like I think it was in overtime, but he made a was it on the 2-point conversion? I can't remember specifically, but he had a nice play where Cohen did beat him initially on the break and on the break of the route, and Bullock just showed good like catch up speed, good recovery speed, go and make a play on the ball, man. But this dude's got legit hops. He's gonna, I think, test extremely well. Plays a lot bigger than his size, and then missed tackle rate too is down this season. Still a little it's not high, but it's I'm not talking about this guy being like a sure tackler, right? We're not talking about him at like a 5 or 8% missed tackle rate. He's at 11%, but still that's very good for the position. Still putting weight on his body, and I think as he continues to put on mass, that'll just make him more dangerous going forward. When it comes to playing the run, he doesn't always take the most advantageous. I feel like I said that word right. He doesn't always take the best angles to get to ball carriers, and he is very much kind of a dive and drag type of tackler. So, like I love what he does. Just needs to continue to like put mass on, put bulk on. And learn how to play the run a little bit better. There's also times in coverage, I guess he'll take bad ankles, like more so on the like intermediate routes where you think he could get to the ball sooner, or at least he should get to the ball sooner, but doesn't always take the best angle to do so to get that. He's allowed 175 yards this year. Did allow 2 touchdowns, one in the Colorado game where they just kind of like, and did allow one in the Arizona game. Again, him and Cowan were just one hell of a fight. But at number 2, I got Tyler Nubin as a second round grade, along with Bullock. He also is a top 50 prospect for me, coming in at 6'2", 210 pounds, having a very, very good season. Former 4-star recruit from the 2019 class. His brother actually plays, I think, here as a running back, I think, for the Golden Gophers as well, but became a starter in 2020, and he has looked the part ever since. Could have came out last year and been a top 75 pick, decided to return, but like this dude, you don't like, he will go through droughts in terms of like, oh, he hasn't really had a lot of production in coverage, and it's because like his explosiveness and his length just kind of wards quarterbacks to stay away from him. He like legitimately, I think, can shut off one half of the field. That's just kind of like how good of an athlete he is, how crazy his length is. Like, he's only been thrown at 10 times this season. Like, that's just a phenomenal number, man. It really, really is. I love how disruptive he is at the catch point. I think he is, last season he allowed a receiving or a catch rate of 35%. This year, 20%. Oh, buddy. Has shown ball skills, 3 interceptions, 3 pass breakups this year. He had 4 interceptions, 4 pass breakups last season, and the year before, 3 interceptions, 3 pass breakups. This man, he loves having the same number. I'll just say that. If we're going to talk about things he can improve on, I think he has improved as a tackler in the open field this season. He's got a 10% missed tackle rate. That's fine. That's solid. I think he's become much better in terms of his processor and isn't relying so much on his explosiveness, his closing speed, his length. He's actually making reads and get into where he needs to early. So I like that. I like that quite a bit about him. Also, a guy that does like to relish in the big hit. So maybe those missed tackles do go up when he gets to the NFL. Just something to like take note of. But love this cat. If he ends up in the first round, I'm fine with it. But number 1 remains Cam Kinchens. For me, I got a first round grade on him. I did have him as a blue chipper, though I ended up removing that from him the last couple of weeks just because the play since returning from the neck injury, like his Georgia Tech game, and it wasn't great. He allowed the game-winning touchdown, essentially. He allowed 2 touchdowns on the back end in the North Carolina game, but feels like he's kind of... It feels like he has bounced back from that in the last couple of weeks. So you like that. You love to see it. Dude was a former 4-star recruit from the 2021 class. He comes in at 6'1", 205. I'll be shocked if he is not 5'11". But I mean, that's what Miami had him down as. But I think he's a very smooth athlete. I like the movement skills. Some people question his speed. I don't think his speed is an issue. I think when it comes to him, he's just got this overall aggressiveness about him. He wants to make a play, whether it's on the ball carrier or on the pass catcher, or whether if it's the ball in air. So I think it's just sometimes he's playing more reactive than proactive. But he's a ball hawk, man. He knows how to find the catch point and make a play on it. He has 3 interceptions this year, and that's after missing a couple of games with the head and neck injury that he suffered in that Texas A&M game. But you look at last year in terms of the ball skills, he had 6 interceptions, 4 pass breakups. So we know he's got that dog in him. The missed tackle rate's much better this season. It's only 9%, I believe. So you love that. I like that actually quite a bit. But yeah, man, I think he's just got to continue down. He's got to show us a similar play as he has the last couple of weeks. Like, I don't want to see another like 2 touchdown performance on him the remainder of this season. But currently got him as my top safety, though I do think Nubin's closing in. I think Bullock is closing in. Those are 2 prospects I really like. I think when it comes to having like whoever your top 3 safeties are, if it's anything different than those 3 guys, I think you're just getting it wrong. I think those are the top 3 guys in this class by a good margin. But let's talk about some of the guys who just missed the list. And I got to talk about Cole Bishop, who was the next guy in. He's actually pretty close to Bo Braid. So literally just misses the list here. But I think he's been good. He's been really good, but I feel like he's been exposed last couple of weeks against more higher octane offenses. I don't want to say exposed. I think that defense in general been a little bit exposed. James Williams is having a fine year. I just don't think it's that banger year where we were looking at him like, oh, he's this freak. He's just looked a little less freaky this season. A lot of people really like Jalen Simpson, but he's kind of weird because I don't think he's someone that can play in the box, play run defense. At 178, he's very undersized. I mean, he was a former corner that moved to safety. I think you're either going to see him as an off coverage corner or a like true center fielder. I don't think you want this guy to be anywhere close to the football when it's hiked. That's just kind of the case with him, but good athlete that has really showcased a lot of ball skills. So people might be surprised to see him a little bit lower, but that's just kind of what I took from it. I'm like watching, I'm like, this you're gonna have to have a vision for him if you breed him in, if you draft him. Lathan Ransom isn't too far behind. I think he's probably I think he's gonna be in my top 150 when it's all said and done. He's having a good year for Ohio State. Josh Proctor, also from Ohio State, has done a lot to really help his draft stock. I think he's probably in that top 200 range now. Because what, he was beat up last year, right? Well, first of all, one of the oldest prospects in this class. He's going to be 25 by the time his rookie year begins. But last year he missed time with illness, with others injuries that were undisclosed. He was benched in the season opener. The year prior to that, he had a compound leg fracture. If you remember, it was really, really bad. I think he's really bounced back well, and he's playing really good football this season. Like, you look at him, you're like, nah, yeah, that guy's draftable. I would love to have him on my team. But that's it for the video. Go ahead, let me know who are some of the guys you think maybe should have been on the list. But as always, until next time, you be easy, my friends. Later.